I have come to see that a man's greatest teacher is not the world, nor the people he admires, but his own mind, when he has learned how to listen to it. The quiet power of reflection is the foundation of all true progress. Before a man can master his trade, his fortune, or his destiny, he must first learn to master himself. And mastery of self begins in silence. In my youth, when I labored in the telegraph office, I would take long walks after nightfall. My pockets were empty, my future uncertain, and my clothes still carried the scent of iron and oil from the factory. But those walks, when the streets were still and my thoughts were alive, were among the richest hours of my life. I was not yet rich in money, but I was beginning to grow rich in understanding. For in solitude, I could examine myself, not as the world saw me, but as I truly was. It is easy to rush from one task to another, to chase ambitions with a feverish heart. But there is danger in constant motion. The man who never pauses to reflect is like a ship that sails without checking its compass. He may travel swiftly, but he may also travel far off course. Reflection is the act of turning the mind inward to make sure the soul and direction are in harmony. Through reflection, a man learns what truly motivates him. He begins to discern whether his ambitions are born from purpose or vanity. When I began building my enterprises, I often asked myself, why do I desire success? If the answer had been only for power or praise, I would have been building upon sand. But when I understood that my work could create opportunity for others, that it could serve progress, then my purpose grew noble and steady. Reflection purifies ambition. It turns restless energy into directed will. One of the most valuable habits I ever formed was the practice of reviewing my day before sleep. I would consider not the events, but my conduct within them. Where had I been patient? Where had I been short? Did I speak with kindness or pride? Did I honor my time or waste it in idleness? This quiet questioning became a mirror to my character. And as the days passed, I found that the man who is honest in his reflections cannot remain dishonest in his actions. A businessman may keep detailed accounts of his profits and losses, but few men keep accounts of their thoughts, their tempers, or their choices. Yet these inner ledgers determine whether one's life grows rich in meaning or bankrupt in peace. If I may offer one counsel, it is this: balance your mental books as faithfully as your financial ones. Spend each day in review, and the small errors of character will never accumulate into ruin. Reflection also breeds humility. It teaches us that we are not always right, that we may err even when our intentions are noble. When one pauses to see the world from another's view, an employee, a competitor, a critic, wisdom begins to mature. Pride resists reflection because pride fears discovery. But the humble man welcomes it, knowing that self-correction is the secret of enduring success. There were moments in my career when failure visited me, times when a contract was lost or a rival gained the upper hand. In youth, I might have raged against such misfortune, but reflection taught me to look within before blaming without. More often than not, I found the seed of failure within my own neglect, my own haste, or my own blindness. Such realizations sting, yet they are precious. Every mistake, when examined honestly, becomes tuition for a wiser tomorrow. Reflection, however, is not the same as dwelling. There is a great difference between thoughtful review and endless regret. To reflect is to learn and move forward, To regret is to stare backward until the future is lost. Once you have seen your error, amend it. Then turn your eyes again to the horizon. The purpose of reflection is not to chain us to the past, but to refine us for the future. It has often been said that success requires action. That is true, but reflection ensures that our actions are wise. Without reflection, even our diligence can betray us, for we may work hard at the wrong task. Reflection clears the fog from our judgment. It enables us to see where our energy bears fruit and where it is wasted. Just as a gardener prunes to make the tree grow stronger, so must a man prune his efforts through contemplation. In the quiet, a man also discovers his peace. Wealth may fill his purse, but reflection fills his spirit. I have known rich men who feared silence, for it revealed the poverty of their inner lives. Yet I have known workers of modest means, whose reflective hearts made them rich in wisdom and serenity. The measure of one's worth is not found in what he owns, but in what he understands about himself. In this age of ceaseless motion, the world praises speed. But speed without direction is confusion. True progress requires intervals of stillness. The man who pauses to think before he acts often surpasses the man who acts before he thinks. For one may walk swiftly to error, while the other moves deliberately toward truth. Reflection also strengthens gratitude. When we take time to examine our days, we begin to see not only our struggles, but our blessings. The roof over one's head, the meal before one's hands, the friend who offers counsel. These are treasures unnoticed by those who rush. The reflective mind transforms daily life into daily wealth. Gratitude, born of reflection, keeps ambition from turning into greed. In my later years, I came to understand that reflection is not merely a habit, it is a kind of prayer. It is the quiet communion of the soul with the truth. Whether one names it conscience, reason, or divine guidance, it speaks most clearly when the world is silent. The wisest decisions I ever made were born not in meetings or letters, but in moments of solitude, when I listened to that still voice within. If a young person were to ask me how to rise in the world, I would say, work hard, yes, be persistent, yes, but also take time to think, reflect upon your motives, your actions, your words. The mind, like steel, must be tempered through heat and rest. Reflection is the cooling fire that gives thought its strength. As I look back upon my own journey, I find that the most decisive turns in my path were preceded by quiet reflection. Whether to leave one enterprise and begin another, whether to invest or withdraw, whether to speak or remain silent, the answers never came from haste. They came in stillness. There is a power in pausing. It gives the mind time to rise above emotion and see the whole field of life as a strategist views his battle. So I say to every man and woman who desires growth, make reflection your daily companion. Do not fear silence, invite it. Do not hide from your faults, confront them. And do not rush through life as though speed were virtue. The calm and measured mind commands the storm. The reflective soul is the captain who steers through chaos. When a man lives reflectively, his progress becomes steady, his character firm, and his influence lasting. For he learns not merely to react, but to understand. He ceases to be a leaf blown by circumstance and becomes the gardener of his own destiny. Reflection, then, is the art of planting one's thoughts with care, so that wisdom may grow in their place. And so I end where I began. in silence. If you would grow in wealth, in wisdom, and in peace, find time each day to be still. Withdraw from noise, look inward, and take account of the man you are becoming. The world belongs to those who not only strive, but also think. The quiet power of reflection is the key that opens every higher door.